I think I'm reading too much and forgot to go live. Anyways, we're going live right now, right here on WCRS. Good morning, good morning. You might want to tune in and see what I'm wearing on my head today. That's all I'm going to say. I've got it all rocking it here today, so just thought you might want to check that out. You can go to Facebook, WCRS 98.5 FM, 1450 AM. Give me a thumbs up. I like it. I hate it. Whatever you want to say. I'm a radio professional. I couldn't take it. All right. Well, we were talking before we went to the break about the government shutdown and what it will mean. I've got a couple of interesting takes on that. But first off, I've got one of my Supremo texter on the legacy line saying, I think it's a shame that we have penalties when we don't meet our deadlines on our taxes. How come Congress doesn't have penalties when they do not meet their deadline? Like doing a budget, right? Yes. Why is it that there is no penalty for not doing their job? I concur with our Supremo texter here. She's been with me texting ever since almost day one that I had a line where she could text. And she is a great person. She is a faithful listener, and I appreciate her so much. So, Supremo texter, good morning to you. Good morning to you. So, how is your day going so far? Have you noticed, my question before we went live on Facebook is, have you noticed any difference since the government shut down? That is the question. And I would have to say, I don't think anybody has noticed any difference yet. Would you concur with that as far as feeling any difference to your life right at this moment? One of the big things, of course, is who gets paid, who doesn't get paid. And, of course, first off, we're going to say Congress gets paid. That's right. However, they get paid, but that doesn't mean their help gets paid. So I happen to know that when they go into the shutdown, they have to send help home. I guess they can keep some essential, what are considered essential, like you've got to have someone, I guess, to answer the phones. But basically, they shut their offices down. I guess they have to sit there and go, so what do I do now? I also have always been, and I know that normally they will get paid. They just may not get paid on the day that they're supposed to. But for this round of first of the month, since it is October 1st, all people will be paid that work for the government, and that's your military, that's everybody, air traffic controllers, everybody's getting paid. However, if they make it to the middle of the month on that second pay period, that could be a problem. So what they usually say about shutdowns, there's always has to be some major event that causes the shutdown to end, such as air traffic controllers. This was at one of the shutdowns. I don't remember which one it was. Traffic controllers had not had a break, right? Had not had a day off, and they hadn't gotten paid, so they said they were going to go out. Well, guess what? Everybody came back and voted on that, getting the government back open. So when we had the military and they were not going to get paid, guess what? They came back. So the thought process is we may go through this week, but by the first of next week, middle of next week, they will probably, somebody's got to cry uncle. And it should be the Democrats, because all they had to do was vote to keep that CR, that continuing resolution. But the drama and how much oxygen can get in the room seems to be the thing that everybody is looking for, the oxygen that they can get in the room. So I think you're going to hear a lot of chest pounding. We're going to have a lot of finger pointing. And in the meantime, the Trump administration rolls on, rolls on. It was a big day yesterday for the Trump administration. They really have gone, I think, done some really good work for the people. And this is what the Trump administration is saying is this is the tip of the iceberg. They just got Pfizer has agreed to give every state Medicaid program the most favored nation pricing, i.e. matching the lowest prices offered to other developed countries. Now, why, when we pay for all the R&D, the research and development, we pay the highest prices for our drugs, and yet they go overseas and they give them most favored nation. And so they pay less for their drugs. But we, the people, pay the most, even though we are providing the services and whatnot for these drugs to be developed. So they match the lowest prices offered in other countries. So right there, that's a big boom to Medicaid and Medicare because drug purchasing is a big part of the cost of Medicare and Medicaid. Okay, now Pfizer also agreed to sell discounted medications through Trump RX once the site launches. They actually have that targeted for next year, 2026. So how will this benefit everybody? It says Medicaid states should see lower net prices on Pfizer drugs through this most favored nation. General consumers, the plan is for people to buy certain drugs directly on Trump RX at significant discounts. Pfizer is the first named partner, and others may join. I believe others will join. Exact drug list eligibility and checkout flow are still to be detailed. But looks like Trump is going to live on forever in our country with Trump RX, a site that will allow everyday people to go in and buy drugs at discounted prices. So that is a good thing. It's not, let's see what it's not. It's not live today. The Trump RX is not live today. It's not across all insurance. The most favored nation commitment announced is for Medicaid. Private plans aren't automatically covered unless future deals expand it. And it says what to watch for. Watch other drug makers sign on to Trump RX and which drug prices are listed on day one. And of course, they still have the final contract language, implementation, memos, etc. to all work out. So that's pretty significant. That's pretty significant, though, to just have that start. You know, you got to start somewhere, and to have that start going forward is huge. So I wanted to mention that. That's probably not anything that's going to affect today or tomorrow, but we've got Medicare and Medicaid costs coming up for the first of the year, and that's when everything usually changes, and to have this type of power behind what is going to be happening with cost, to be able to lower costs like that is a huge, and I mean a huge thing. So I did want to mention that. Congratulations to the Trump administration and Trump RX. It wouldn't be the U.S. government this. No, it's the Trump RX. That's right. So you'll never be able to forget. I'm sure that's what he was thinking. Who's your daddy? Who brought it home? And, but you know what? That's what he who has the gold makes the rules. He that's able to make the deal. That's the way it goes. So congratulations on that. All right. So back to the government, though. I did want to talk about that, but back to the government. Military, who still works? The military, federal law enforcement, air traffic control, and TSA continue without pay until funding resumes. It says expect travel slowdowns. If you're traveling, things may be a little slower. The good news is the checks have gone out either this morning, tomorrow morning. Anyways, they're on their normal schedule. It is 2 weeks from now when they all get paid again, where if this isn't resolved, that's where things will get really sticky. And people may go without pay. I don't think that'll ever happen. I think this is just as we've seen so many times. And that's to me what makes this so ridiculous, is they do this every time. Now, the only difference is sometimes I think we've been into a shutdown for, 3 times since 2018. And other times we take it right up to the wire, right up to almost midnight. Everybody's shutting down and then, we're going to make a deal. And it's always the dramatics of it. Quite frankly, I'm sick of it. The budget's coming. You need to do it. I agree with our texter. There should be a penalty for not coming together and getting the bill done. Enough said. Drop the mic and walk away. But that's where we're at. It says the mail, Social Security, USPS delivers as normal. Social Security, Medicare benefits continue through some customer service. May be a little slower, but they're still going to be working. Parks, museums, many national parks stay partially open with limited services. Some facilities, museums like the Smithsonian, may close or operate briefly on reserves. But it would be a good idea if you're going to any of these places in the next week to check before you go to make sure that is still open. It says passports, visas, and routine agency work. You can expect delays as non-essential staff are furloughed. And small business lending, processing a large part of that freezes until the shutdown is over. Nutrition programs like SNAP and WIC funding depends on short-term balance. SNAP likely continues briefly. WIC is the most vulnerable if the shutdown drags on. So basically, as long as they can get all the air that they can in the media, that they will be able to most things will be able to rock on and be back before it gets drastic. But just think, if this really was drastic, who would we all be looking to? We'd be looking to Congress. As it is, we just say whatever and everything goes on. That's the problem with this. When you do something, when you cry wolf too many times, what happens? People just don't get that excited about it, do they? No, they don't. So that's what I think is a shame as far as where we're headed with this, is that we don't care. I mean, we just go, oh well, the government shut down. How does it make us look on the national, international level? Not good, not good. So that's the government shutdown. But there are other topics here to talk about. I do want to remind you that the stand down is going on right now over there at Emmanuel Lutheran Church, 501 East Cresswell Avenue. That goes on from 9 to 1 today. So any veteran that needs help, regardless of what it is you need help with, they have over 30 vendors there to help you get what you need. Do you need to get a copy of your DD-214? They'll help you get it. Do you need to get enrolled in the VA? Do you need to access your benefits? Do you have issues with addiction? Do you need education, employment, eyeglasses, handicap access? Do you need a handicap ramp at your house and no way to get it because you can't afford it? This is your opportunity to get the work done. Are you homeless? They have help there. Housing, job training, legal advice, medical advice, help with rent and utilities. 30 vendors are going to be there to be right there in one place, and people will be there to help you find what you need. So please go by there. On top of that, it's a free lunch and a free haircut. This is just for veterans. You have to be a veteran. And what they have asked, that even if you do not need the services, if you know somebody that does need the service, please take them there. And that's, veterans helping veterans, vets helping vets. That's always a good thing. But if you're a daughter, a son, a father, a sister, a brother, and you know that your relative is having trouble getting the help that they need, get them to this event. It's all free to them. It's all available to them. All you have to do is get there between 9 and 1 today at Emmanuel Lutheran Church, 501 East Cresswell, right here in Greenwood. So I did want to mention that. So what have we got? We've got that going on. I also want to tell you, if you missed the show yesterday afternoon, you really missed a great show. We were talking about what home health services, part of Self Regional Hospital healthcare, does for our community. Do you know that they are the largest nonprofit home health service in the state? They cover nine counties and 5,000 square miles. They even cover Self-Regional Home Health Services is covering Anderson and Greenville. And so I think that's pretty darn impressive. And a lot of the things, some of the people that were commenting didn't know that some of the services and how you get hooked up with them. So if you need more information, if you are homebound, that's the key. If you are homebound or going out of your home would create a real difficulty, give them a call over there. Let them, this has to come through your provider, whoever you are, your doctor, your surgeon, whatever, but they can help you if you need this help. They can help you get the information that you need so that they can help you. 864-725-7600. That is the home health care division, home health services of Self Regional. So very impressed. We had Liz White, who is the director of home health services with us. She's been a nurse for 40 years. And we had Amy Lowe, who is the home health outreach liaison with home health services right there at Self Regional Healthcare too. Great conversation. And you got to commend people that go out into our community, go from house to house to help people that need help, and their service and their uplifting part of what they do for people in need is pretty darn amazing. So thank you so much for coming on yesterday. Now, also this afternoon, we're going to be talking with the YMCA girls here this afternoon. Jan Rushton and Sunny are going to be here. We're going to have a good time talking about Rocksteady Boxing. I've got some videos. In fact, we're probably going to start out the show with a video this afternoon, so you might want to be tuned in for that. And we're going to be talking about how this program helps. I actually have interviews from people that are in the program, so you'll learn more about what Rocksteady Boxing is and how it may help you or someone you know that is in need of these services. So that's another aspect of what we'll be doing. We'll be doing that at 5 o'clock this afternoon. All right, now, over in 96, Index Journal made a FOIA request, and I'm just going to read you a little bit of this. This is pretty interesting. This is on the front page of the Index Journal here today. Town of 96 Mayor Greg Brown responds to a Freedom of Information Act request from the Index Journal regarding the town's money market deposit account, calling the request overly broad and warning that costs could far exceed $1,000. You know, governments, when you make a FOIA request, they can bill you for the cost of making copies of stuff or the time that they have and this type of thing. And so it says what began as two routine record requests spiraled into weeks of unanswered emails, canceled meetings, and in one case, a $6,000 price tag. The Index Journal filed a pair of Freedom of Information Act requests with the town of 96 this summer, seeking records tied to its money market deposit account and the town's 2019 forensic audit. Nearly 2 months later, neither request has been fulfilled. And the request for the records from it says monthly accounts, documents, bank statements, reconciliation reports, ledgers, check registers, and general journal entries dating back to 2017, oversight records, current written policies on how the MMDA funds may be used, proof of whether the account is interest-bearing, and a list of individuals authorized to sign checks. Council records meetings, minutes, or resolutions approving the expenditures and documentation showing how these monies are spent, this money market deposit account, how the money is spent. Audit and management history, name of officials responsible for the money market account, any internal or external audit, transfers and journal entries, etc., etc. So this was a pretty standard request when you're trying to find out what's going on, right? When you're trying to find out what's going on, that was a pretty standard request that has turned into something that looks like it's more like how much is the Index Journal willing to, what shall we say, pony up here to get them this information. So this has been going on since the end of July, 1st of August. And she asked for a few questions, and then she's updated it in the Index Journal. Renee Ortiz has been following up with emails and trying to get the information. And so far, I haven't read the whole article because it's a very lengthy article. It says, finally, on September 17th, certified public accountant Mark Wood of Camden, South Carolina. Yes, you're listening to WCRS radio, and that's what we're hearing. It's 10 o'clock. So anyways, an accountant, Mark Wood of Camden, said that based firm Sheehan, Hancock, and Goldwyn LLP called the Index Journal, confirming he had been hired by the town to handle the FOIA request. So they can't just get him the stuff. They got to hire somebody to get him the information. Wood said his firm had provided pre-audit preparation services in the town of 96 for years, 22 to 24, and that financial records from those years should be organized and easily accessible. However, Wood said finding financial records going back to 2017 could be very time-consuming, stating that he did not know if the town even has or knows where the documents are, noting that there have been personnel changes and software system changes since then. Wood told Ortiz and Price that if the town does still have these documents, he was unsure whether they're organized and said the documents could just be haphazardly thrown into boxes. That later scenario, he said, would cause him to have to comb through boxes of paperwork, page by page, looking for specific invoices and other financial documents sought in the newspaper's FOIA request. Wood also told Ortiz and Price that the town doesn't have the personnel to devote to looking for the requested documents, which is why his firm has been contacted too and would be hired to fulfill the FOIA request. He estimated that he would need 30 plus hours to comb through all the records if they could even be located. And he said the bill's out at $210 per hour. So he charges $210 per hour for 30 hours worth of work, which would make the FOIA request cost $5,000 or $6,000. Those charges would be passed on from the town of 96 to the Index Journal. He says, I'm not doing this for free, Wood said. I'll bill the town of 96, and then they're going to require y'all, the Index Journal, to fight it. Wow. So what happens now, folks? Do we think the Index Journal is going to do this? While the town stalled on the MMDA request, the Index Journal also sought a second set of records for the 2019 forensic audit the newspaper learned had been conducted of the town. So this one was submitted to Seymour and Bell. And so it looks to me, now as I said, I have not read every word that is in the Index Journal. I'm just kind of skimming it, telling you this is a big story in a small town. When it's going to cost $6,000 to go back and even see if you can find the records, this is not a good thing. This is not a good thing. So when a company makes a FOIA request, a news source makes a FOIA request, they know they're not going to get it for free. They know that. South Carolina's FOIA law requires timely responses and mandates that fees be reasonable. South Carolina's Code of Laws lays out strict timelines for municipalities when responding to requests. Public bodies must acknowledge receipt of a request within 10 business days or 20 business days if the records are more than 2 years old. Once a determination is made, records must be produced within 30 calendar days or 35 days for older records. If a deposit of up to 25% of the estimated cost is required, the production deadline runs from the date of the deposits is received. The law requires towns and cities to charge for actual cost of searching, retrieving, and redacting records, but those costs must be calculated using the hourly rate of the lowest paid employee capable of completing the task. Well, looking for records really shouldn't take an accountant-type person at $210 an hour. Would we be right in saying that? I think so. Copy charges cannot exceed prevailing commercial rates, and no fees can be charged for simply reviewing a record to determine whether it is disclosable. Records transmitted electronically are provided free of charge if they already exist in digital form. Agencies are encouraged to waive or reduce fees when disclosure benefits the general public. In addition, certain records must be made available to the public without a written request. These include minutes from the past 6 months, documents distributed to council members during public meetings in the same time frame, police incident reports from the past 14 days, and jail rosters covering the last 3 months. So, on September 28, Brown spoke directly with Ortiz on the phone, offering his most detailed comments yet on both FOIA requests. He acknowledged that some older MMDA records might be incomplete, saying the town has located some there, but not every month or every year that you were asking for. He also did not confirm whether the missing records... This is crazy. This is why small towns are at such a disadvantage, because they don't have an administration versus a council. And this is a problem, and I think we're going to have to follow up on this to make sure that we're updated on this. But this article goes on forever and ever and ever. And so the $6,000 price tag, I'm pretty sure that the Index Journal is not going to pay that. I also am a little sad to see that a government body would use those type of tactics to try to scare up a news organization off. But he spoke directly with Brown, spoke directly with Ortiz by phone, offering his most detailed comments yet. He acknowledged that some of the MMDA records might be incomplete, saying the town has located some there, but not every month. He could not confirm whether the missing records included bank statements or meeting minutes, but said Wood had been tasked with digging and seeing what he can't find. He when told the Index Journal would submit a narrower MMDA FOIA, Brown said, "That will be fine." Brown also confirmed for the first time that a forensic audit was conducted in 2019, but clarified it was not the entire town. It was not done on the whole town, just one certain particular part. So, as I said, this is the story that goes on. They said that they're just having a lot of problems coming up with this. For now, the town of 96 Reserve MMDA and the town's 2000 audit remained locked behind unanswered questions and an unfinished investigation. The Index Journal's initial FOIA request regarding the MMDA, the deposit account, was going to come at a price tag of at least $6,000, according to the CPA firm that would be hired by the town. Since the cost is so high, the Index Journal will be narrowing the focus of its FOIA request to include documents that should be more readily available. This is a bad situation. But the bottom line is their documents should be organized. They should be organized. But again, when you don't have an administration and you're not outsourcing your accounting type stuff because probably they cannot afford it, this is the type of thing that can happen. So, sorry to hear that this is what is going on with 96, but there are some issues over there, and kudos to Renee Ortiz for being out there on the job checking it out. I wanted to bring that up because that's a big deal, and it does affect part of our community right here. So as we move forward, I'm sure we'll be updated as to what they are happening. $6,000 is certainly a huge amount of money for request and timing. And of course, the mayor, Greg Brown, is the person that's basically having to deal with this because they don't have a administration as we have here in Greenwood. Again, we have a city council and we have a administrator. Julie Wilkie is the administrator. She takes care of all the day-to-day stuff. The council is her boss, and she brings things to them, and then they vote on and decide what way to go forward. But just most interesting stuff. I'm Ann Eller. You know you're listening to WCRS. I realize that was a little long, but I also thought it was something important for us to discuss this morning. So we did. 96 in the news. All right, what else have we got here this morning? I had some other things on the national level. That one just popped up. Did you hear about the Utah campus bomb report ahead of the Turning Point event? I cannot believe, number one, they are going back there. They were going back to the Utah State University, Logan, Tuesday afternoon outside Old Main, hours before the first Turning Point USA event since Charlie Kirk had died. They found a suspicious device placed under a tree. K-9 alerted bomb squad performed a controlled detonation. Device was later assessed as non-explosive. No injuries. All clear issued and activities resumed. And the event did go forth, but it went forth later that evening with more security. What a thing to put people through, just going to an event. You know, a couple other things real quick, if you are not aware of it. Yesterday, President Trump signed an executive order to speed up cancer research for children. This certainly is something very huge, and that will be something that will make hopefully a big difference. He signed an executive order to harness AI and large privacy-protected health data to improve diagnosis, trials, and treatments for kids' cancer. He's going to doubles the budget from $50 million to $100 million, and will bring in private sector AI partners, and so they're hoping that they can get things to trial quickly. So, and then of course Hegseth was out there giving a speech to all the generals and everything. And Hegseth is saying, we're going to be in shape. We're going to be ready to go. He brought everybody into Quantico. And it's been framed as a culture reset. He blasted fat generals, said fitness, appearance are non-negotiable, and ordered tougher weight and height and biannual PT standards across the force. Said combat roles will use one high standard based on the historic male benchmark and nixed recent accommodations he sees as woke. Told officers who oppose his agenda to resign, defended recent findings of senior leaders. Trump also spoke echoing the anti-woke message. So there you go. The military is changing. The military is going to change. I know a lot of people are thinking this is a good thing. I think it's a good thing. I think our military is supposed to be ready to fight. And you put the people involved when you do not have a force that is all on the same page. There's been some discussion about whether women can or can't. There are women out there that can aspire to the roles. But again, I believe this is the roles of fighting, of war, being able to go to war. Just like the military has always had other roles for women, that if you are not capable of doing to the roles that they are necessary, then there would be other roles. But the bottom line is your fighting force needs to be ready, and that's how you protect our country. So kudos for them for making these changes. That's a lot in one day. Let's see. We've got anybody commenting here this morning? Yes, we had somebody say, what are they saying here? Let me click on this and look at it. Yep. I love what you do in the morning, Ann, but sometimes it's so depressing. Isn't that the truth? It is depressing. I don't know what to do. Should I talk about these national things? Should I talk about our own community things? Should I just get on the radio and play music and go la-di-da as the Titanic goes down? Yeah, that's right, Penny. Is that what we should do? Sometimes I wonder if that's what I should do. But I do think... Penny? I'll be finished in just a minute. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think here. I don't know what to think. Penny has decided how long I can stay on the radio. I wonder, did Gracie leave her a note somewhere or something that said, when she gets into this thing of talking, just go ahead and start barking and she'll end the show? I have no idea. Anyways, that's a great comment. What should I talk about? What should I talk about? I honestly don't know. There is so much news out there. Today, just FYI, if you want to watch it, there is a hearing today. I don't know what time it is, but you can go to the South Carolina congressional website. You can ask where the trial is a hearing. It's not a trial, it's a hearing going on the abortion bill that is in the Senate. If you remember last week, we had John McCravey on, Representative John McCravey, talking about the difference between his bill in the House. Penny, come on. His bill in the House and the bill that the Senate is doing. I think one of the things to watch is, if this bill makes it out of the hearing, how much does it change to accommodate the things that people want in the bill, such as exceptions for the mother, etc., etc. So Representative John McCravey did say he would be interested to see how these things change in order to accommodate and possibly get the bill through. So that's going to be an interesting one to watch. In closing, I just want to say it is hard every day to get up and come on here and find what you want to talk about. I love talking about local stuff. I mean, that story about 96, that just broke last night. And community-wise, that is an important story. I'm sure that the index is going to take some heat because of asking for so much information, although they are changing their request because they, of course, can't pay $6,000 for this. So they are changing their request. But we're highlighting things that are a problem in our community. They're a problem with transparency. They're a problem with accuracy of records. And this is how things go off the rails, and then it becomes a bigger problem. So media is there to be the watchdog of what agencies and governments are doing. So the Index Journal is doing their job, and kudos to them for doing that job. So congratulations for exposing this. I certainly hope that they are able to provide, 96 is able to provide the information that is needed. If you are interested, you certainly can go and read on the Index Journal. They have a huge article with a lot of information there. All right, so let's go ahead and do one more thing. What's coming up this week? Well, today going on right now is the Veterans Stand Down over there at Emmanuel Lutheran Church, 501 East Cresswell. That goes on till 1 o'clock today. Coming up at 5 o'clock today right here on WCRS, we're going to be talking about rocksteady boxing and Parkinson's disease. And so this is going to be an excellent program to talk about. So, we do have going on right here in Greenwood. The Uptown Greenwood Scarecrow Contest is in full fall spirit. I checked it out the other day. I got to go back and check it out. They are all kinds of cool cool vibe scarecrows. I'm not sure they're scary, but they could win an award. So they're going to be doing that. They also make sure that you pop in at the Art Center, Greenwood, for the latest A Local Look art exhibit, highlighting artists who are members of the Greenwood Area Artist Guilds. The exhibit is scheduled to be on view through November 1st. They also, down there in Newberry, is having a Bee Gees tribute band. They are going to be there this weekend. When is it? Thursday. Thursday is going to be going on down there in Newberry. The Bee Gees, Staying Alive, that's a good one. Get information and tickets by calling 803-276-6264. Also coming up this weekend, a really interesting little festival is Arttober in Abbeville. The Abbeville County Chamber of Commerce invites you to Arttoberfest this Friday and Saturday, a celebration of local art and artists. Enjoy vendors, set up shops and eateries, plus a wine walk, hide and seek, art, and live music. So they're going to be having a good time. They've got some great music and whatnot that's going to be over there. So that's pretty cool. They also end up with a Pink Floyd tribute band, Interstellar Echoes, at Abbeville on 7:30 on Saturday evening. So that's how that kind of closes out. But then they've got the wine walk, they've got music playing, they've got a really fun, cool vibe festival. I think it sounds like a great one. Also, this is the last weekend of the corn maze over there at Connie Maxwell, Friday and Saturday. Ticket prices are $10 online, $12 at the entrance, and so you can even get discounts available for groups of 6 or more. So that's all the things that are going on. Of course, we've got Local Focal. We'll have that in the rotation right here on WCRS. And the first concert really of the fall season over there at Lander, the University Wind Ensemble, which is entitled British Invasion, will be at the Abney Cultural Center Auditorium. That's 7 p.m. next Tuesday, and that is a free concert. Doesn't get any better than that. So check all these things out. Make sure you tune in this afternoon. I could have talked a lot more about a lot of different issues, but the bottom line is we're all staying alive. And will Congress get their act together? Not until something big event happens that causes that, such as somebody needs to get paid or it's going to affect the people, then they'll do something. This is truthfully, for shame. And that's what I have to say here today. And who is that? That is Cher and Tina Turner on the Cher Show. Shame. And isn't that a shame that we have to waste all this time and money? You know, people always, I got to admit one more point. People always talk about, whether it's our government here in South Carolina, the state government, we got to pay our people more. You know, if they'd be efficient and do the darn job, we wouldn't have all this back and forth. But it's all about the drama. It's all about getting clicks on the internet. It's all about who can be on TV the most, who gets the most airtime. And that's what it seems to be all about. We have forgotten that it's a country that needs desperate help, and we should be doing everything possible to do it. And if you really want to serve your country, then serve our country and don't get into the grandstanding and seeing how much money you can walk away with. There you go. Drop the mic, Ann Eller. I am out of here. This is WCRS Radio. Have a great day. I'll be back at 5 right here on WCRS. Bye-bye, everybody. Take it away. Cue the music. Yes, we're out of here, Penny.